Well, a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If you're tuning in on Thanksgiving Day, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're not, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. And I just wanted to tell a little story because I know some people are really worried about things going wrong at their Thanksgiving dinners, especially if you are the host and you've planned all this food and you have guests coming over. I can pretty much guarantee right now you're ready to pull out your hair because it's about noontime on Thanksgiving. So the final touches are going to be going onto the dinners. But I wanted to tell you a little story about when I was a kid. I was 10 years old, so my mother and father were still living, and my brother John, who's 5 years older than me, and my brother Richard, who's 8 years older than me, were also living at home. And so this particular Thanksgiving was the first time that my brother Rick, who was 18, was bringing his girlfriend over for dinner. We had met her, of course, but now this is the first time she's coming to a family event. They eventually did get married. They eventually got divorced. She got the family house. She cut down all the apple trees that I loved. She cut down the 2 willow trees that I loved. But hey, I'm not bitter. So she was there, and my brother also had a friend that was there, a girl. They weren't really dating, they were just friends. And of course, I was 10. So we have this big dinner set up in our dining room. We have the extra leaf in the table and a beautiful tablecloth. And there's about 12 of us sitting around this table. It's beautiful. My mother, in one of her few times where she cooked something big for someone, made this big, beautiful 20-pound turkey and had all of the different sides there. We had butternut squash, we had stuffing, we had mashed potatoes, we had fresh baked rolls, we had cranberry sauce. Everything was fantastic, especially the cranberry sauce, which I liked a lot. And what she had done is she'd taken the canned stuff, that's kind of like jelly inside. This is back in the probably 68 or so. So that's pretty much what you had for cranberry sauce. So she shook that little jelly thing out of it and mashed it up and mixed in some other fresh cranberries and some other spices. I don't know, I wasn't at the age where I paid attention to that. But she made something that was really delicious and beautiful. And she put it in her own little casserole dish. So we're all sitting around the table and we all did the going around and saying what you're thankful for, which, to be honest with you, I always hated. I still hate it. The last time I had to deal with it was about 15, 20 years ago when I went over to a client's house for Thanksgiving dinner. Some friends also came with me, and she did the let's go around the table and say what you're thankful for. I had just like traumas about that when I was a kid. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to have to say something. As it went around, it was getting closer to me. I would always panic, like, oh my God, what am I going to say? It's like going to confession. You kind of have to make up something at the time. So we're sitting around the table and we've done that little what you're thankful for. And we're about to eat and my father starts slicing the turkey. And meanwhile, the sides are being passed around the table. And as I looked at the table when I sat down, it was beautiful with all the different sides. And the cranberry sauce looked especially good. So as I looked at the table, I was kind of just taking in the different china that we were using because my mother brought out the special china that she only used on holidays. And it was beautiful and it all matched, except for a couple bowls of the sides where she had to use something else. And as I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the cranberry sauce and I'm thinking, that little dish looks familiar, but I can't place where it's from. I guess my mother must have it tucked away and only bring it out on holidays also. So we start passing all the sides around, and sorry, and my father had finished slicing the turkey, and people were starting to put it on their plates. And the sides were going around, and I got the mashed potatoes, took my mashed potatoes, I love that. And I took stuffing, a nice good helping of stuffing. And my mother had green bean casserole. I think a lot of people have that. And I put that out, and I had my turkey. And the final thing coming to me was my cranberry sauce that I've been looking forward to. And as I get the dish to spoon it onto my plate, I suddenly realize why this little dish looks so familiar. And I say, as a 10-year-old would, nice and loud, "Oh my God, we're eating out of the dog's dish?" And my brother Rick's girlfriend suddenly went as she was about to put a forkful of food in her mouth. And my mother's eyes went wide, and she's like, "Oh no, of course not. No, that's a casserole dish. You just haven't seen that." And I'm like, no, this is what I fed Petite, our little poodle, with last night. I know this dish. This is the dog's dish. And now this girl that my brother has brought with him turns and starts gagging, which caused the girl that my other brother, John, his friend, had brought to start gagging also. And one of my nieces picked up on it. And my mother's sitting there with her eyes wide. And my father's paused with the turkey, not knowing what to do. And suddenly my niece turns, puts her hand over her mouth, and it sprays out of her fingers onto the floor. And everybody just dropped their utensils. And my mother's like, okay, I'm going to clean this up. Everybody out of the dining room. Give me a half an hour. And we had to clean it all up. And my mother was bullshit at me. She didn't speak to me for 2 or 3 days after that, So things go wrong sometimes with Thanksgiving dinners. If somebody isn't puking at your table, pretty much everything is salvageable. And even if they are puking it up, well, you can always make an excuse somehow. But I would suggest for your family gathering, maybe not have the dog's dish as one of your serving dishes. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy your holiday, and I'll be back again with another video very soon. Please do subscribe. Thanks. Take care. Happy holidays. Bye for now.